And we are live once again. Hello and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome once again to a special episode of Surviving Romance. Now, here on Surviving Romance, one of the things that I love to do is obviously cooking, okay? But all the cooking in the world doesn't mean a thing unless you got something to drink with it. So why not make some specialty? Let's make some coffee, which anybody can do, but we're going to kind of kick it up a notch. And then while we're at it, we're going to make some coffee house style coffee syrups that'll really crank up the flavor of our coffee. Just like what you can get in some of your top, your mainstream coffee shops or some of your top drawer coffee shops. Okay. So, first things first, okay? Let's make our pot of coffee. But as I said, this is definitely a time that you're going to want to do things a little bit differently than what you know. If you're like me, you get up in the morning, you have to throw it all together, and whatever comes out, comes out. Who cares at that point? But remember, this is for your other half, okay? So this is definitely the time to break out uh, your special pitcher that does the filtered water for you. Or if you don't have one of these, you can do bottled water, like the gallon jugs or bottled water. Just whatever you do, don't get the distilled. It's just too chemically clean to really do what you need water to do when you're making coffee. Okay? So just skip the distilled water, go directly to your bottled water, or like us, filtered water. Which I don't know why in the world you wouldn't want to do filtered water over the bottled water, because the bottled water, I mean, if you think about it, it's heavier on the landfill. Every couple of months, we just change out the little filter in there. No big deal. It's not that bad. It's good for a while, and that is a whole lot cheaper than Just trust me on this one. Okay. Now the next thing, you need coffee. Now I know there's some places that swear by doing it fresh ground coffee. If you're like us and you're spatially challenged, you ain't got time for a coffee grinder, okay? You don't have the space for it. So you have to trust what you can trust. Now immediately now you're talking pre-ground. Immediately everyone says it's got to be Folgers, Maxwell House, No, it does not. Okay? Sometimes just generic will be just fine. A lot of it comes down to getting the ratios just right. Okay? It's really all it boils down to. And I know some of the...
Water joke.
Huh?
Water fun.
Right. Um, so this is definitely the time we want to get this right. Okay? Anyhow. And of course, another special ingredient, but we'll get to that in a moment. All right. Well, that too, but that just kind of goes with the whole series. Princess Faye over there being a goofball. So first things first, we have our filter in place in our basket. We've got about 12 cups worth of water in here. It doesn't have to be hot, doesn't have to be cold, because when it goes through the auto drip, it's not going to matter if it's hot or cold, because any which way you look at it, the auto drip machine will just make it hot and then it runs it through, okay? So, what I look for, and I'm going to do my very best to get the camera to pick this up, okay? I'm using actually a 1/4 cup scoop, and I usually put about 2 of those in there, and if it just looks a little lean, I'll just add a little bit more, okay? Now, some people, because they don't like the bitterness of coffee, will try to do less. That is a bad thing. Less, you extract more of those compounds that make it bitter. So skip that, okay? Try to get it to look, as soon as I get this closed, about like that, okay? Notice, I filled it maybe 1/4 of the way up, okay? Now, again, if this was early morning, I'd fill it to about this point, slap it in there, and what comes out, because I don't care at that point, Okay? But remember, this is for your other half. Now, also, if she's got a party going on, maybe friends come over, whatever, you might also want to make this thin. Okay? This is definitely a time for that. Okay? A small pinch of salt will go a long ways in this. Now, I know salt in coffee, well, it acts as a water softener, kind of rounds it off. For some reason, salt, when introduced to bitter compounds, kind of stops a lot of that bitterness, okay? So it creates a smoother flavor, all right? So what we're going to do, we're going to turn it up like this, and a couple quick grinds of pink Himalayan, okay? Now, again, we went over the different types of salts that we use around here. The pink Himalayan has kind of a mineral bite to it, okay? So, again, if I was going to do this, you know, just kind of haphazardly, obviously the kosher salt would work fine. You could also break out some sea salt, which this is in a grinder, okay? We also have the Hawaiian black salt, which is Princess Faye's personal favorite on a lot of the dishes, okay? So definitely, there's more than just one type of salt out there. So let's go ahead, let's get this fired up. Again, I know it sounds a little bizarre, but it comes out so much better than you can imagine, okay? So there we go, auto trip pot is now going, and this thing has been used so much, it's gonna take us a little while. But that's plenty of time to get over here and start making our syrups, okay? Now the first one we're gonna do is a vanilla syrup. Now, anytime you talk syrup, you know, sugar syrups, the first thing needs to be brought up is it's a simple ratio. 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. That simple, okay? So, let's start off with 2 cups, 2 full cups of sugar, okay? One cup and 2 cups. All right. Again. And 1 full cup of water. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking. Prince Magnum, there's no way in heck all that sugar is going to dissolve in that sugar solution. Okay? It's just not going to happen. Watch and see. Okay? Now, we're going to go ahead, kind of stir this around a little bit. Again, I know this sounds crazy. Just trust me. Okay? Distribute the water. Once the heat starts kicking up, it'll break down the sugar, creates a syrup, kind of breaks down. What you get out of here will actually be 100 times sweeter than the sugar just by itself, adding heat to the mixture. Okay? Now, while we're waiting for my very slow and very anemic cooktop to do its thing, let's talk briefly about vanilla. Imagine for a second, if you will, that vanilla comes from a very rare orchid that only blooms at a certain time of the year, very exotic in flavor, and then be all of a sudden, I guess in many recent years, to be associated with, believe it or not, blandness. Vanilla is not bland. It's actually very good stuff. Very good stuff. All right?
Good stuff that's used in everything.
And very true. Vanilla is used in a lot of great stuff, okay? Whenever you start talking like your aged bourbons and anything alcohol that's been aged in oak barrels, well, there's a reason why it's aged in oak barrels. Because of the fact that vanilla, the vanillin, the active ingredient in vanilla, believe it or not, is present in oak too. That's why you age it in oak barrels. And the alcohol extracts that vanilla directly from the wood, giving it that nice aged flavor. Okay? That's also why in imitation vanilla extracts, they use wood in its place. Now, while we're also on that subject, because of my alcoholic disposition, the type of imitation vanilla extract that we use here on the Prince Magnum channel has no alcohol in it. So, perfectly safe for a guy like me. However, if I couldn't get my hands on something like this, what I would do is buy a vanilla bean, shove it down in my sugar, or the amount of sugar that I need, leave it there for a couple weeks. I got vanilla flavored sugar.
Shove it, huh?
Yep, just shove it right in there. And now we have attained a nice boil, so I'm going to start backing off of it a little bit. And just as I predicted, all of that sugar has dissolved, which is exactly what I wanted. Yeah, my shade's just totally fogged up, but that's cool.
That's alright, they're shades. Nobody can tell but you.
Right? What I'm actually looking for as I'm doing this is kind of a nice, I don't want it to fall off like in a stream like that. I'm looking for it to fall off in almost a light ribbon, okay? And you'll see that here in just a moment. That's why we cranked it up. Nice slow boil, if you will, a reduction. That is just about what I'm looking for. Kill the heat. Now, what we're going to do from here, 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Now, if you made your own vanilla sugar, you don't need to use this, unless you're crazy. Okay? We're going to wait till the boil slows down just a little bit. Okay? And if you're using the real vanilla extract that has the alcohol in it, you definitely want to wait until the boil comes to a slow stop, okay? And there we have it. Give it another quick, light stir. And I mean, right now, you can already start smelling that strong vanilla flavor kind of smacking you right in the face. And it's oh, I did it again, didn't I? I'm sorry. You guys can't smell with all this, but it's really good, okay? So, there is our first one down. Our first syrup. Doggone it. I didn't think that through, did I? Okay, there's our first syrup. Done and double done. Now, you definitely want somewhere to contain it, okay? So what we have here is this real cool, handy-dandy Batman, sport bottle, okay? Perfectly fine. Now, I don't think I need to tell you all this, but I'm going to do it again because some of you worry me sometimes.
Wow.
My hands don't like to be burned, and I imagine yours don't either. And because this is a syrup, it's liquid napalm, so please be careful. If you don't like to be careful, just remember these 2 words: burn ward. Okay? So be very careful. Do this over a sink because this stuff is very sticky and it's a pain in the butt to clean up. You're going to go ahead and fill this all the way up. And there it was. I totally got myself too. Should take my own damn advice, right? Down here.
Did you overfill it?
No. This cup wasn't as strong as I thought it was. There we go. We're going to let that cool off on countertop. And again, Boy, that smarts. Good thing I don't feel much in my left hand. Basically, that was still warm enough to melt the cup that I used. So you got to see me actually hurt myself. All right, I didn't plan that through all the way. That's okay. That's okay. Now, and we still have plenty of nice smelling vanilla, you know. Don't worry, it won't last long. This one I know holds up a lot better. We're going to need this for the chocolate syrup, okay? So that's why I'm not worried about this one. All right, back to our ingredients, all right? Real quick. 1.5 cups of water. Right in. 3 cups of sugar. Now again, wow. All right. Now, because we're dealing with something that's going to be in the fridge quite a bit, 2 whole tablespoons of light corn syrup, not the heavy stuff that everyone's worried about being in soda and things like that. Okay?
I can start smelling your sugar stuff.
You just calm down over there. Now, we've got this back going again over the cooktop. Also, because we are dealing with chocolate syrup, this is definitely a time to add a pinch of kosher salt. Okay? Definitely a great time for it. Y'all got to remind me, I got to pick up some more of these. Okay? Now, again.
Hey, babe.
Yeah?
Don't forget to pick up more of those.
Yes, dear. Okay, now a lot of you might be asking the question, why the light corn syrup as well? Well, 2 things. Number 1, it's going to keep it from setting up like a brick in the refrigerator, okay? Which is where eventually this is going to go. Vanilla. Anyhow, and then the other thing is that not only is it going to do that, but it's also going to help keep from sugar crystals forming while we're doing this, okay? So we got this again, high heat, bringing this to a quick boil. Because why high heat? You know, all the way cranked up, because my cooktop sucks, okay? Again, all the water that we're using was filtered through that little pitcher we showed at the beginning of the episode, all right? Here we go. And it's starting to already break down. You only need so much water to break down all of that sugar, okay? I cannot believe that just totally melted that. It freaking hurt, too. There you go, babe.
Great use of money.
Right? Good thing it was only $1.
Wasn't even $1.
50 cents?
No, it was like 80-something cents.
Oh. Well, we are going to need something to eventually put that in.
I just hope Walmart still has that so I can replace it for you.
You know what? It's not a big deal.
Shut up.
Won't matter. And
Gosh darn nibbit.
there we go. Already at a full rolling boil. Okay? Now this is the time where I start backing it off. Okay? Now for the record, I'm going to actually openly say something. I've not done this on camera. I've not done this at all, period, yet. Okay? This is the first time we've done this here on the channel. It's the first time I've done it, period. But we're going to see how this turns out, okay? Got this awesome recipe. We're going to find out how this chocolate syrup turns out.
By the way, that reminds me, sort of off topic, you can keep working while I ask this. You mentioned earlier, this was off the live stream, that you hadn't opened up a specific container of, that yellow container. What is that? I can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
I know what it is, but I can't remember. Okay, but you said you hadn't opened it yet. We've had that for a while and you haven't opened it. Can I have it?
Yes, but we're going to get to that in a second.
Because I've got a surprise for you. And if you wanted to use it on the live stream, you're welcome to, but...
Okay. For the chocolate syrup, obviously, we'll get to that. Off camera, obviously.
I just want to know if I can have it.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Thank
I
you.
only need it long enough. All right.
No, you can't use it. You can't even talk about it. No, no.
All right. I said that we needed chocolate. More in particular, cocoa powder for this. Now, the problem that I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, that the natural cocoa powder, well, that's what we have right here. Perfect for baked goods. The problem is that the only way to make this, this actually has a pH balance. It's very acidic, actually, believe it or not. The problem with that is that if I put the required amount in here, it's going to taste just that. There is not enough sugar in the entire world to make this taste sweet. So, what we had to go and do, we went over and seen our friends at the Lowe's Walmart and picked up, ta-da, Dutch processed cocoa powder, which actually is sweet. It's been treated with alkalis, and there's a whole bit of history behind it. You're welcome to look it up yourself. I'm just not going to go into it right now, okay? So, let's get on with it. I have here 1.5 cups of Dutch processed cocoa. So we're going to put that in. Go slow. Go slow, please. Get your whisk, your favorite whisk, and go slow. Now, heads up, I was also warned when I would start this recipe that it's going to look like it's not going to come together, and you're going to be whisking for a while. Okay, I was already warned on that one. Oh my gosh, this smells good. I did it to you guys again.
I think the point he's trying to make there is be patient.
But I was warned that it was going to take a while, and it's going to seem like it's never going to come together. Notice, again, temperature management. But what was explained is that as the cocoa, as the fats in the cocoa powder that, break down as you're whisking, the emulsifier, basically it'll turn into an emulsion. It's actually already starting to do that. That's amazing. Now, I know some of you are saying, oh, Prince Magnum, you could have actually bought, the chocolate syrup from, say, the store. You could have spent some money on it. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Why this is actually better. And I've been threatening to start doing this more often. There we go. Look at that. Look at that, folks. That is amazing, isn't it? Also want to give a big shout out to that wonderful cashier who knew exactly who she was talking to when I was buying this, and she was wondering what was on the menu tonight. Okay, now we're going to turn this back up just a little bit more. We're going to cook this down. Wow. That is awesome. Look at that. And we're going to cook this down. We're going to reduce it just a little because I want it to set up as much as possible before we start moving it around. There we go. Now, we're going to kill the heat and let it start cooling. There we go. Hey, honey, can you smell this by now?
I've been smelling it, so now I'm not good.
Let's go ahead and move this
My
off.
sniffer don't work the way everybody else.
Let's move this off the heat. I don't know how well the camera's picking this up. But now that we have reached this point, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, the same stuff we used in the one before. Now, I know some of you are saying, Prince Magnum, vanilla extract? Yeah. Believe it or not, chocolate and vanilla really do go together.
That's why all your cake recipes have vanilla in it.
So we're going to stir that in real good. There we are. And there we go again. Amazing. Now, it looks a little watery right now, but don't worry. I've been told that this sets up. By the way, y'all got to see me for the first time just make chocolate syrup right here on the Prince Magnum channel. Amazing. There we go. So I'm going to set this right like this. This time without burning myself or melting a bottle. No laughing over there. I don't want to hear it. Know what you wanted to. Now, pour very slowly. Again. Oh, man.
Darn it.
Plenty of room yet.
You melt the bottle yet?
Not this one. This one actually holds up. And amazingly enough, I actually have some left over, which is exactly what I was hoping for. If y'all have any, if you like your chocolate milk, perfect. Ice cream, perfect. Coffee cups, what we're after. Again, homemade ingredients that you can get at your local grocery store. And I already know what Princess Faye wants for her first one. It's actually easier when you take it directly from the bottle. But in this particular case, it's perfectly okay. And I know she likes her chocolate. You know what? This is close enough to done. Go ahead. You're going to fill it up to just about the top. Leave a little bit of room. A little bit of room. That way, give them a nice looking spoon and a light stir. And you have yourself a nice cup of chocolate flavored coffee. Hang up here. Got it a little too close to the top, but it'll be just fine. You're welcome. Now, for myself, I think I'm gonna have the same exact thing. Again, the vanilla syrup, fantastic. You have had that, but I am curious about my very first attempt at a homemade chocolate syrup. There we go. I can finish off the excess. And my favorite coffee cup. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right all the way up. to just about the top. There you have it. Coffee. If you get the right type of mugs, you can top it with some whipped cream. Take some of your Dutch processed cocoa powder, maybe even squirt, kind of lightly sprinkle it on top of the whipped cream. And then, or if you don't want to do that, you could even take and drizzle on some of the chocolate syrup right on the top. Be just like some of those fancy restaurants or some of those not so quite fancy restaurants where you get that sort of stuff. Better than anything you'll ask for. One of the next episodes that we'll do here on Surviving Romance is how you could take chocolate ice cream, mix it with coffee, and make one heck of a dessert drink that blow your mind. It will, trust me. But in the meantime, oh man. Now I wish you all could have some of this with me. Let's go into the office and let's talk about why we do, what's so special about this coffee episode. And I'm going to tell y'all why it's so special. Ooh, I'm scared of the dark. Hold me. Try to do that without spilling your coffee. Things you learn when you're a drunk. Anyhow. All right. And, man. There we go. All right. Let me hook this up. Ta-da. There we go. All right. What's so special about doing a coffee episode? Well, if there's one thing that I have learned, and I've learned quite a bit in my time, is that, well, I'll tell you a funny story. Over the years, something that I have noticed since my introduction to Alcoholics Anonymous is that when somebody's upset, even if they're a coffee drinker or not, put a cup of coffee down in front of them and let them talk out what's eating them. Even if they never touch that cup of coffee, there's something about it that's genuine, it's wholesome, and it's a great way to get people to talk. Okay? Now, all that being said, one of the things that I don't know if Princess Faye notices this, but what I will do is when I think there's a problem, I will go make a pot of coffee, make some of these syrup, usually the vanilla syrup, and I'll hand it, basically put a cup of coffee in front of her, and a lot of times it lets her get out what's bothering her, okay? Don't know what it is. One of the first times I got to ever use this was on a lady friend of mine who was crying about losing a boyfriend running off on her. So I was able to do just that. She's like, I said, let me make you. I said, we'll go back to the apartment. We'll sit down. We'll have a pot of, we'll have a cup of coffee. We'll talk. I don't like coffee. Will you just trust me? And did just that. And she talked. I didn't say a word. She just talked about what was bothering her. And I said, are you okay now? She said, yeah, I am actually. What did you do? I said, just put a cup of coffee in your hands and asked you to talk. And I said, so if you're having communication issues in the relationship, give this a try. It might help. Again, here on Surviving Romance, keeping the romance alive obviously is an important one. But sometimes you got things blocking, the other half from enjoying romance. So this is oftentimes something simple, something innocent, something sweet that you could do to get you back on track. And I don't think this is the first time Princess Faye has heard this. I know she's in the other room. But this is a little something I've been doing for a little while now, and it seems to be working just fine. She wasn't really a coffee drinker until I started making the syrups for it. How's your coffee, babe?
It's too hot.
Have you tried it, any of it yet?
I'm waiting for it to cool down.
All right.
I like my taste buds intact.
Mine are used to it for some odd reason. Anyhow, also on the nice with autumn coming up or fall coming up, this would be a great time to try this out with your other half. Out on the you know, out on, say, like your front porch watching the sunset. Give it a try sometime. Now, I also know some of you are probably sitting there going, Prince Magnum, that's an awful lot of trouble for some specialty syrups. And you're right, it is a lot of trouble. However, let me tempt you with a little food for thought. And without me having to run off camera. Hey, honey, could you bring that bottle of chocolate syrup that's in the refrigerator, please?
Sure, hold on.
And you'll understand what I'm talking about here in a second.
Which one do you want?
The one that's not in the door. The one that store-bought stuff.
Okay.
The other stuff was given to me.
Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Name brand syrup. Let's read some ingredients. High fructose corn syrup. Regular corn syrup. Water. Cocoa. Sugar. Contains 2% or less of potassium sorbate
Huh?
to maintain freshness. Xanthian gum.
Yeah, it's a thickening agent.
Yep.
Don't really
Salt. Mono and diglyceride. Oh my gosh. Polysorbate. Vanilla artificial flavor. Wow. That's right off of the back of a name brand bottle of chocolate syrup. Some of this stuff I can't even pronounce, and I work the medical field. Basically giving this stuff the shelf life of uranium. Which is why, in this particular case, it's probably healthier to make your own. And you get to decide what goes in it.
Galaxy, come on.
Galaxy, I think, is debating if she wants to be on camera. So, there you have it, folks. You know, your own homemade syrups. We have a store-bought vanilla one, but the stuff I make, a little bit better, okay? Just trust me when I say it's 100 times better than anything you're going to buy in a store, okay? But even though you did buy all the stuff in a store, you made it yourself. So, there you have it, all right? And I don't see anybody on. Oh, I missed that one person. I apologize. I couldn't see you. I was working too doggone hard. I know at one point in time we had a couple of people, so there's probably going to be quite a few people on the playback. Again, the wonderful lady that checked me, you know, that was at, you know, the cashier at Deloge Walmart, who was kind enough to say, it's Prince Magnum, you know, and we started talking about the ingredients that I had. I told her exactly what we were going to be doing with it. We were going to be making the chocolate syrup, and we were going to be making vanilla syrup, but I needed the Dutch processed chocolate. She's like, oh boy. So I actually purposely waited till I knew she would be home so she would have the opportunity to watch this if she wanted to in live stream. We just got started late. Better late than never, right? All right. Right now, the Prince Magnum channel is on hold with car shows. because I am working the weekends right now and it is so hard. So we're going to have to play it by ear at this point.
I was able to get a drink finally. It's cooled down enough. It's super good. I might add some milk in it just because I like milk in my coffee.
Okay.
But it's
But
very good. I like it.
really good? Okay.
I will be expecting 3 more bottles by the end of tomorrow.
3 more bottles of the chocolate syrup? That good?
I've got ice cream. I've got milk. I've got a spoon.
Honey, I've got enough to make maybe 1 more batch.
Well, you better go out and get more.
Son of a gun. Here we go. So evidently I made it very good.
Yes.
Um,
By spoon, I meant eating it with the spoon, not other stuff.
mhm. Again, obviously making your own chocolate syrup is very versatile. And see, I'm supposed to make some for coworkers too so they can try it.
No.
What about the vanilla? The vanilla's good.
No.
Evidently, my syrups are off limits to coworkers now. But anyhow, dang good. So there you have it. Okay. Again, all stuff you can get at the store, make it yourself, that sort of thing. And believe me, it is really, really good. Okay. Real quick, I will also say that the chocolate syrup that we made today here on the channel is a... Hey, what's up? I was gonna say you just missed all the exciting stuff. You'll have to watch it in playback. We made our own homemade chocolate syrup. We made a vanilla flavored syrup, all for a really nice, smooth flavored coffee. All stuff you can buy in the store at a reasonable price. Oh man, I hate that. I should. Yes. And we did that. I was actually slowly coming to the end, but you know what? Since you're on, we're going to go a little bit longer. Again, obviously the chocolate syrup goes great on ice cream, chocolate milk, however you like it, you know. I think Princess Faye has already said that even though I made these syrups and I was going to take some to my coworkers, let them try it out. I was going to sneak in there on one of my next couple of days off, but she has basically said that the syrups are off, homemade syrups are off limits. They get none. None. Jen's going to be really mad at that. That's good stuff. Like the mug. Me and my Punisher stuff. Yeah, she's already said she's gonna be cracking open the ice cream. I actually bought that mug from Farmington Walmart last year for my birthday. Actually, Princess Faye bought it for me, to be more precise. She's like, "Oh, that is the coolest cup ever." I said, "I've so got to drink coffee from that on when I do my videos and stuff." So I do, and I enjoy it. I actually have quite a collection. This one is actually, I've got one that Princess Faye got me. It's in the wash right now, but it's a heat activated coffee cup. And when you put your hot coffee in, the picture on the outside kind of brightens up, and it's a Batman, because my second favorite comic book character of all time is Batman, and right behind that is Superman, believe it or not. But my first one is the Punisher. But back when I made A Year of Sobriety, an old timer in the program who's got over 40 years now. One of the guys that I look up to him. He's a great guy. I don't always see eye to eye with him because he's kind of a rough, tough old timer, but I do look up to him. He gave me this cup, and I broke the handle off. You know, like life, I don't have much of a handle on it all the time. It says, "Keep coming back, then it gets real. Then it gets better. Then it gets different. Then it gets worse. Then it gets real different." You know, basically talking about how life changes in sobriety. But that's another subject for sober talk, which we need to do a sober talk. But we did the chocolate syrups. Again, remember when you're doing a sugar syrup, you know, we're talking your regular granulated sucrose sugar that you can buy at the store. When you go to do your ratios, it's always a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. We did the vanilla, which I totally burned my hand on. You got to see that. Or if you haven't yet, when you watch the playback, melted the container it was going into, thought it was going to be stout enough to hold it, and of course I burned myself really well. It freaking hurt. Thankfully, a lot of the burning happened on my left hand, so I really don't feel it all that much. Uh, it just kind of, that light stinging burn. Like you got your hand a little too close to a flame, and it's like, ooh. No, it was all over really good, and it should have really freaking hurt a lot more. But anyhow, so that happened. So we learned that particular vessel will not hold a sugar syrup. But we did 2 cups of sugar to 1 cup of water, melted down just fine. We let it boil up and kind of thicken, reduce just a little bit. And you got to watch me, kind of watch it come off in a light ribbon. Now, even though I didn't close those vessels off, there's a reason why. Because there's still going to be moisture coming out, kind of steaming out. Well, I don't want that moisture inside the bottle. I want it to steam out. So, in the process of this, I left it open. It's going to steam out, creating a more syrup-like texture. Okay? Even though I took the syrups off the heat, just because it's off the heat doesn't mean it stops cooking. For at least another 5 to 10 minutes after it's off the heat, there's still carryover heat. So, say you stopped it at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that is in Celsius for our European friends, you know, whatever that is, even though you took it off the heat, it's still going to climb a few more degrees. So give it at least 5 to 10 minutes for that to recede. It's just like when you're cooking a steak, okay? Even though you took it off the heat, you're still going to have to give it a little bit of time to let the heat subside. So that's exactly what we've done. We've left them uncovered for right now. It's not going to hurt anything, okay? Again, we did not use the natural cocoa powder for the chocolate syrup. We used Dutch processed. Now, I mentioned briefly that there is a difference. Your natural cocoa powder is very acidic. And I even briefly mentioned it does have a pH balance, okay? Because it's that acidic. It works fine in, baked goods like brownies. And I've even used like your ones that have been your natural and Dutch processed blends for making the hot chocolate mix, which we have already done here on the Prince Magnum channel. You're welcome to look at that video. It was it literally showed how to make homemade hot chocolate mix. So this is not the first time we've used cocoa powder here on the channel. How good is cocoa powder? Well, if done right, it's more chocolatey than actual milk chocolate. So, and which is exactly what we did. So, oh my God, that's good stuff. And I will also tell you, if you've never experienced it, chocolate and coffee together, yum. There is nothing like it. If you've never experienced that, you are missing out. Oh my gosh, it is just like hits you in the face so hard. I mean, it's like being hit in the face with a slippery fish. Try to figure that one out. I've done the fishing thing, and I've actually had that. It's like being hit in the face really hard. It rattled my teeth. I'm not kidding you. Some of you are probably going, hit in the face with a slippery fish. I don't know what that's like. Trust me, it doesn't feel good. All right. Do we have any questions? Any ideas for upcoming episodes? I know we're going to be doing a poached egg, kind of a poached egg salad soon. And of course, I will give some vegan, for our vegan friends out there who are kind enough to turn on to the Prince Magnum channel. We will be definitely, uh, I'll be throwing in some tips that'll help change that into a vegan dish if you so like. Okay, definitely worth tackling soon. When? How soon? Soon. That's what I. It depends on what Princess Faye wants to do. Okay. Let's see. Real quick. Again, if you decide that you're going to make something like this, and right, I mean, again, I love to cook. You guys know that. And again, I know some of you might be saying, Prince Magnum, coffee isn't exactly eating. Well, you got to have something sit next to your meal to drink. And eventually, we will be doing some different types of iced teas as well, because here, where I am located here in the Midwest, it is close enough to the South. Sweetened iced teas are just like the thing, okay? The further south you get, the more and more popular it becomes. So this is definitely something that we're going to want to tackle very soon for our more southern audiences. And maybe even if you live in the north, maybe it's something you might yourself want to give it a try. I know the vanilla syrup we definitely made today would be a nice addition to a sweetened iced tea. But we'll get to that in another episode. I just got to go pick up the tea. So there again, I've got more to do. All right, so we've covered the syrups today. But what I was about to tell you is if the wife is having some friends over and they decide they want to do like a coffee house thing, and you're like, hey, I could do that here at home. Believe me when I say, all it would take from here to turn it into something you would get at certain particular fast food chains, or say like your more mainstream coffee house chains. You know the ones I'm talking about. Obviously, adding the syrup to the coffee. And because we did like a chocolate syrup, if you do like the chocolate coffee, you take it, put a little bit of whipped cream on the top, and then you could, squirt your chocolate syrup on, or give it a light dusting, a real light dusting with your Dutch processed cocoa powder. Don't worry, it's very sweet because it's been treated with an alkali that takes that pH down, so it's a little bit more palatable directly as a powder. And you can sprinkle that on there real nice, and give it some fancy name. Maybe like the dirty coffee drink or whatever. Just give it some cute name, whatever, and then slide that over to your wife's friends while they're all socializing, and you are now the hero. Okay, trust me. I'm telling you, doing stuff like that, to me, giving the wife, bragging rights like that is just freaking awesome. And while we're on the subject of that, and I think I've told this story before, but it bears mentioning again. One of my earlier episodes, I still remember, it was Surviving Romance, Welcome to McMagnum's. And it was a crack at fast food breakfast sandwiches. And considering where I work, you can all see where the joke is going. And it was, that was the joke. So what I did was I made like these sausage sandwiches with this melted cheese on it, and the sausage they were, on biscuits. They were store-bought, baked here at home, but still yet, I've yet to finish learning how to make my own homemade biscuits. But once I was done with all of that, I then made a bunch of them. I think it was like a dozen of them. and I took them over, kind of put them in a baking dish with a cover on top, and took them over. Princess Faye was at the Beauty Academy, and basically in college to become a beautician at that time, which she did graduate. And once we were, we went over, and I had made those for Princess Faye and a friend of hers who is also diabetic, just like me, and she doesn't like to take care of herself. So I made those. Figured the two of them could share amongst each other, and and her friend would be taken care of. Just trying to be the sweet husband, and of course give Princess Faye the bragging rights she so deserves. Well, all the other gals seen them, and they're like, "Hey, can we, come on, pony up here?" She's like, "Well, go ahead, go ahead." I left to go do something real quick. I was back in like 10, 20 minutes. They were all gone. All those sandwiches that I made, gone. Non-existent. And they were still, almost like sniffing the dang wrappers. They're like, "Oh, those were great." And I'm like, "Well, I'm glad y'all enjoyed them." And, you know, they're like, "Who, Faye, where did you get these?" "Oh, Prince Magnum made them." And I'm like, "What? He made these?" "Yeah, yeah." "Oh, these are better than I get over it." You can see where this is going, you know. And of course, then they're like, "Oh, you've got a great husband. You gotta take good. You must. You're so lucky. You must have done something right. Just stuff like that. She has all the bragging rights in the world. Something to be said about a courteous husband nowadays. And as I was actually saying while I was at Walmart, it used to be in the old days that uh, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, now it's the other way around. Husbands really have to know how to cook nowadays because a lot of our ladies have become professionals and making an out there in the workforce, working hard. And in some cases, nowadays they make more money than the men. So a husband that can cook, make dishes or coffee drinks or whatever it is that I show here on the Prince. A husband that can make stuff like that, and still help entertain like guests and things like that. I mean, that's all the talk now. Husbands that can cook now, and of course they can still do the sweet stuff. Like right now, Princess Faye actually has a rose that I'm in the process of dehydrating and preserving for her. Bought her a rose, and figure go ahead, and she might want to keep it a while, so I'm dehydrating it and gonna preserve it for which we have already done that video too. So it's definitely something you all might be interested in taking a look at if you've not watched it already. Lots of stuff here on Surviving Romance to work with. Of course, also on Surviving Romance, even showed you the enjoyment of taking your sweetheart for a cruise in your custom car. Something to be said about that. There's a lot of awesome stuff like that we have just not, we have covered and covered and covered, and it's still so much fun to find other stuff that we can do right here on the channel. I know another episode we're going to have to break out one of my special suits that I could show you, a really nice dress suit that doesn't require a tie. And it's pretty dang snazzy if you ask me. I mean, husband that can dress up, take the wife out on the town, that's a husband that's usually worth keeping around. Usually, not always. mm. Dang, I'm telling you. I wish you could all smell this because it's really good. Here I am again, that smart aleck joke that I keep, that just seems to be a running gag here on Surviving Romance. Anyhow, you can't smell it, I can, and you're sitting there like, we need smell-o-vision here, Prince Magnum. We're not there yet. I think they tried that back in the 70s and it didn't work out. It just didn't work. They almost got it, but it just didn't work. Okay. Do we have any questions so far? I mean, any ideas for upcoming episodes? Again, right now, because I have been working the weekends at work, car shows are kind of on hold um, at the moment. Ones that happen a little bit later in the day. I ended up missing one that I wanted to go to yesterday, but it's still going to work out because in a couple weeks, I talked to the people at that particular shop that was their grand opening. Griffin Automotive. Hang on, I've got their card right here. Yes, Griffin Automotive Design just opened up in right here in Ponterra, doing custom work and obviously collision repair and things like that. Amazing work. I got to see some of their work in the shop. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be getting in touch with their owner Scott, and we're going to do. I'm actually going to get some interview footage and things like that with him, where I'll be asking some questions and let him talk about cars and things like that. So that's definitely in the works right now, but he's getting ready to have back surgery. So Scott, if you're watching this right now, please do me a favor, get well soon, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you very, very soon. Let's see. Also, in October, I don't know exactly when. It's still, the details are still being ironed out, and it could still fall through. We're not sure. But as it is right now, there's a particular museum up in Farmington, Missouri, that is getting ready to do like a fundraiser of sort to help raise funds for the museum. And they're getting ready to invite some magicians in. And they want a lot of local amateur magicians, as many as they can get. One of the amateur magicians they tapped, yours truly. We're definitely gonna. They're gonna be. They have definitely. I said you just let me know the day, the time, so I can ask off for that day, and of course I'll go up there and do a little bit of magic for everyone who's interested in watching. Of course, we've seen me do 2 magic videos here on the Prince Magnum channel. Check those out for Off the Chain because dang, that was a lot of fun. The last one that we showed where I did magic here on the Prince Magnum channel was right in Burt TV headquarters on the old Burt TV, which I imagine he's got that now, that old video now loaded to his channel. But I also have my own version right here on the Prince Magnum channel. So you definitely want to check out. If you've never seen me perform, actually it was card magic. And I got to walk you through. You know, I did all those tricks, and it was freaking awesome. Poor Bert is still cussing at me a little bit over that. Of course, that day, I don't know if we're going to be live streaming or not. We might be live streaming if that comes to be, where I'll be on stage performing magic, and of course, it'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yes, dear. Such a goof. Still sipping on your coffee? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Maybe. Maybe it's gone.
It wouldn't surprise me.
You gonna make more?
More coffee?
Mm-hmm.
It's already made.
I don't make it right. You pour it in the cup just right.
Well, you know. All right. So far, we covered it all. Covered it all. Just wait until next payday so I can send off for the last few parts for my front disc brake conversion. I did totally forget a couple of parts. It happens, just human. Real quick, special shout out to BST Ford Channel, Built Something Ford Channel. As we approach the front disc brake conversion on do-it-yourself budget hot rodding, there will be a big announcement and that sort of thing. Mini movie. Been on hold because I've been working on too many other projects, too many irons in the fire. Y'all know how that is. But I have not forgotten the Washington Police Department on how poor they do at law enforcement. We'll talk about that a little bit more as time progresses. Tons of videos that we'll be uploading soon, and some of them that are in the making right now. One of them that I'm working on, one of the irons in the right. It reminds me of Jack Nicholson from Batman with Michael Keaton in 19. If there was more hours in the day, I would just do that much more, and I would still be overwhelmed. My biggest problem is I get going on too many projects all at once, and sometimes some of those projects do suffer, like the mini movie. Um, Again, I won't give too many details. There will be a trailer coming out on it once I'm complete with it and set an actual release date. I was close to finishing it, but I started watching it through. I'm like, this sucks. And I don't want to release that to you all to build it up, build it up, build it up, and then all of a sudden it's just a big stinker. I don't want to do that to y'all. So I decided to kind of pull it back a little bit and work on it a little bit more. I mean, the footage itself will just speak volumes, okay? Because it's so laughable in so many ways. Um, I will give this little tidbit about the mini movie. How many 1975 Ford Mavericks are left in the world that look like Project Spirit? Probably not many. So how in the world do you miss it? Exactly. We'll leave it at that for now. Fail, fail, fail. Anyhow, they're going to love me. I'll probably be told, don't ever come to this town again. And all I could say to them is, no problem. Uh, all right. Let's see. Um, so right now, we're going to try to make it out to Laz's Bar and Grill sometime this week. They kind of had to stop doing karaoke on Tuesday nights. It's just not a popular night. I mean, honestly, I mean, I like Tuesday nights because there's nobody there. So if I wanted to get as many songs in as I possibly could, it's a perfect night for it. But for right now, because, they're just kind of waiting for the summer to die down a little bit more to start it up again. It just wasn't working. So I know Thursday nights is still a thing, but I've got to work Friday morning. But it's not until 5 o'clock. So I might be able to pull off getting some more music loaded. And I might try out some new songs. I've got one in particular that I've been kind of debating on, but I won't tell you. Not until it's time. I know when I do go out there, it's almost expected for me to do rock and roll all night. And the last one that I did, I have an aunt that actually got to watch it, and she thought it was the coolest thing. Actually, a lot of my family actually watched that one. My actual family watched that one. They were very impressed. I know my mother. Well, I'm sorry, my sister-in-law, my brother's wife. She just absolutely went nuts for it. Well, that reminds me. There's an excellent chance that Prince Magnum, maybe my sister-in-law owns a tax service that's out of Atlanta, Georgia, and she may be kind of calling me up to do a commercial for her because of my voice. So that may be in the making. Too bad the Prince, and I told her not too long ago. I said, too bad the Prince Magnum channel doesn't have a larger fan base, because I would definitely, we'd have to work out something where you guys would sponsor me, like a couple dollars here and there for advertising here on the channel. Which, that's not to say that couldn't happen anyways, okay? But definitely something to think about, all right? Uh, you know, so if you know anybody who, um, anybody who would definitely be interested in the Prince Magnum channel, start telling all your friends, get them to subscribe, because if we can get a bigger fan base, then I can get and one of the next videos I'll actually give her a shout out anyways for free. Just because it's my sister-in-law, the mother of my nephews, my nieces and nephews, I don't mind being Uncle Magnum. But anyhow, and they're beautiful, beautiful children. Um, you know, I would actually real quick. My one of my nephews evidently, um, uh, one of the a set of twins, but one in particular evidently has my imagination, and my sister-in-law was bragging about that. Um, and she said, he's definitely that is definitely your nephew right there from the stories that your brother has told me. Definitely, definitely one of you know. So there you go. Prince Magnum still has extended family. It's really awesome. Um, which, from what I understand, my sister-in-law loves watching Surviving Romance. Ironically enough. While my brother does love, yeah, my brother's a mechanic. He's a diesel mechanic, and he likes do-it-yourself budget hot rodding. He likes Project Spirit. All right, doggone it. I think I pretty well beat this horse to death. I kind of rambled on a little bit, and I do apologize if you don't like rambling. Um, just like another YouTuber I follow, a guy named Brian who runs Survival on Purpose. Um, he likes to ramble too, but I told him recently, I love your rambling. It's kind of wholesome. It lets me get to know who you are. So big shout out to Brian from for Survival on Purpose. We do survival here, but romance survival, the husband survival kit. Again, special shout out to BST Ford or Built Something Ford channel, long version, if you will. He's got a Maverick project. You might want to definitely check him out. Also, check out the Cadillac Kid Productions. Cadillac Kid has got a backlog of video for the next couple of years, and he's slowly releasing them over time. But I can't wait to see when he decides to start doing new content. When the adpocalypse started, it really started affecting him. And basically, he just kind of backlogged it, and he's releasing stuff over time. So a lot of stuff you're seeing isn't necessarily current, but it's still dang good, which he's got a video up I got to see. Bert TV has moved to a new location here on YouTube. Obviously, there was a lot of controversy surrounding his channel, and it looks like he may be surrounding himself with controversy again. So, as if you will, before he begins surrounding himself with so much controversy again, that he may lose his channel again, you might want to check out Bert TV. I got a funny feeling that he's going to do it to himself again. Uh, I love you, Bert. Dang, man, you got to pick your battles. uh, let's see. Check out those people, and let's see. Oh, real quick. If you are a Star Trek fan like me, I actually have a Star Trek emblem on my keychain. There's an excellent chance that this one channel is going to take a suggestion on something that I suggested for Star Trek. I am a huge Star Trek fan. Not as diehard as some, but I love watching Star Trek. Right now, I'm in the middle of kind of watching all the episodes from Star Trek Voyager, which I've kind of avoided for a while. I really, there's some of the episodes I really like, some I don't. But the channel you want to check out is Lore Reloaded. Uh, he's got a lot of Star Trek stuff up there, and he's got some other stuff, but you might definitely, if you're a Star Trek fan like me, or you've always been interested in learning more about the canon part of Star Trek, you definitely want to check his channel out. It's definitely worth your time. Um, that pretty well covers all of my big shout outs. Um, okay, so we're at that usual spot again. All public appearances are kind of, we're kind of playing it by ear right now because my schedule. I came out of full-time maintenance at work. I just needed I needed to get away from it. I wanted to get back to customer service, so my schedule has kind of changed a little bit. But we're working out those details. So if you're in the area, we're playing it by ear. Okay. I know there's some car cruises coming up that I definitely want to try to get involved in, but right now, again, we're playing it by ear. Um, let's see. All right. Um, I know one of the next episodes, we might do this tomorrow. There is a question in Surviving Romance that definitely needs to be answered, and I've been kind of putting it off. Well, there's also one in Your Face that needs to be answered, and I've been really putting it off because it's going to create a lot of controversy. I'm probably going to make some people angry with that one in particular. But there's some things that need to be said. Actually, I'm probably included into no, we won't. We're gonna leave it in your face. I know we need to definitely go over the fourth step on sober talk, and I know there's more recipes that we're definitely gonna do here on Surviving Romance. Again, we're and of course, do-it-yourself budget hot rodding. We got some really awesome stuff in the works. I'm just not going to tell you yet. All right. So, as usual, check out the Patreon account. If you have anything you can drop in there, definitely do so. All the proceeds that go into the Patreon account will go directly back into Project Spirit. All of it will be used towards mechanics, and eventually we're going to try to start back up that giveaway. I didn't get to give anything away because no one was able to donate. It happens. I think a lot of people here, the Maverick Nation, as wonderful as you all are, you're like me, broke as a joke. Okay? We all work for a living and we got bills to pay. So, hey, I understand. Okay? But if you have anything you can donate, anything is acceptable. Just kind of a heads up, Patreon doesn't allow you to donate anything less than $1. But if you've got $1 to throw in there, we'll definitely be glad to put it back into Project Spirit. Also, if you check out my Twitter account, which I need to go on there and kind of update some stuff, I try to post public appearances there, but more than anything, I usually do that on my Facebook account. I have it set up where if you were to type in Prince Magnum, it will bring up my actual Facebook page along with my real name, and you get to see what I'm like outside of the Prince Magnum channel. You get to know me a little bit more. You even get to know my real name, which, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, search and look me up and all that other stuff, you could, but wouldn't it be more exciting to get to know me on a more personal level? Also, because the channel is small enough at this point in time, if you send me an email to princemagnum1@gmail.com and you ask, I'll be glad to actually give you our phone number, and you can actually have a phone conversation with me and pick my brain for real. Not literally pick, but you could pick my brain and learn some things about me on a more personal level. We're still small enough where we can do that right now. So if you wanted to actually have a phone conversation with me, now would be the time. Actually, even over the course of the next couple of days. All right. And again, if you also see me out in public, want to high five me, shake my hand, ask me some questions, give me a great big old hug. I am perfectly okay with that. As a matter of fact, I've actually had some some of you who are members of the Maverick Nation come up and ask to take pictures with me, which that was just freaking awesome. It's awesome. I'm telling you, nothing like it. I don't care how big I get. It's all of you that make it fun. I never want to get so big that I can't do that. I never want to get so big in my own head that I don't enjoy my fan base, okay? That's just the way it is. All right. So that brings us to our usual stopping spot. We went a little bit longer than anticipated. Unless you, do you got anything? Not you. Galaxy's around here someplace, but she's just hiding, She's around here. I was talking about Galaxy. And of course, Taver, You missed it earlier. He was hiding in the dryer. Yeah, your requests are usually the simplest. That's one of the benefits. I mean, you.
Is Galaxy being
Not exactly, but I know everyone likes to see her. Unless you can find Taver, he's never on camera hardly anymore. He's too busy being a. Well, maybe there's a particular recipe. Now, if you ask for baked Alaska, we're going to have words. I'm not that good, okay? I'm only so good.
Ow.
Yeah, the office disaster. And, of course, Taver, my bestest buddy in the whole world.
He seems to disagree at the moment.
Oh, he's just fussy. This guy takes care of me whenever I have my post-traumatic flip outs. He's actually certified as a service animal.
ESA, not service.
I don't know. There we go. Yeah.
No, I got you.
Oh, well, there she is. And of course, Galaxy, our
baby.
Our beautiful black cat. Again, I don't know why in the world people have such a dislike for black cats. They're so beautiful. And
she's a little bit more vocal.
Yeah. You're embarrassing her dad. She's beautiful. She's fun. Get a laser pointer and she goes berserk.
Get out of the camera. It's hers.
Right.
No, she wants to go do something else. She doesn't like being held. She gets too hot.
Yeah, because of her black fur, she doesn't like to be held for too terribly long. It gets too hot for her. Our body heat just just like radiates into her, and she just can't take it.
We say as I rub her.
Yeah, she don't like that. Don't piss her off. She gets fussy.
She's a black cat. She's always mad.
Right. Oh, she's just. Yeah. Now Taver, he's one. And sometime I'll have to get this, but he likes to lay with his front paw like he's a baby over your shoulder. I don't know why that is, but he loves that.
Go. Thank you.
That's just Taver. Go. So of course we had to get our precious cats in on the shot, but I know last video Galaxy didn't need any prompting whatsoever. Well, actually Taver, he doesn't like it when I smoke. He likes to run away when I smoke, so that's probably one of the reasons why he doesn't get in the camera shots like he used to. I know there's a lot of, if you go back in the earlier stuff that I was doing, he used to come in and inspect my work. Galaxy used to do it too. You'd see me working on something, they'd come in and inspect and sniff, and then they'd go off and do their own thing. But anyhow, all right, well, that pretty well covers all that. I had to get the cats. All right. As usual, we covered all the social media and everything. You got anything you want to add?
No.
Before I begin the final line. All right. As always, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is. Just do something with yourself. Idle hands and a creative mind make horrible bedfellows. And sometimes we should actually talk about why that is. And gear it towards our millennials who, definitely could use a kick in the butt on being do-it-yourselfers. You're not a typical. All right. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. I'm telling you, if you're like me, always. And as you just said, for all of you out there, and sometime we'll break this one down again in a video. I did one on this earlier, much earlier in in the earliest episodes of the Prince Magnum channel, but we're going to break this one down again. For all of you out there, okay, I don't care what you're going through. If no one out there has told you that they love you, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.